Let's see. I think I started recording. I'm
There it
also
is.
getting good. There we go.
Yep.
So, hi, this is David Perlman,
And Heather Cox.
and today is May 21st. It's officially, I guess, spring or summer, depending on where you're at. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Jody. So, Jody Lefevre is one of our top-notch technical solutions specialists, and she'll be talking about kind of this cool Skunkworks project that she started on. And I think everybody's going to be happy about kind of what you're bringing to the table, Jody. So you have the next 25, 26 minutes or so. We'll leave a few minutes for Q&A, and the floor is all yours.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'll just quickly introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I did recognize a few names on the call, so hello if you do know me. I'm Jody Lefevre. I am a technical specialist for the Midwest based out of the greater Grand Rapids, Michigan area just for education. I've been in this role about 2.5 years now, and over the last 2.5 years, I've been kind of more of a typical Intune specialist, Windows deployment specialist in the SCCM realm. But this year, as you know, we've kind of branched out and we do the whole modern workplace stack now. So I had this great opportunity. A coworker came to me and said, Jody, I have a school district, Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and they want a learning portal dashboard. Can you build it? And I'm like, well, I don't know. You guys know we work in IT. We just pull things out of our hat all the time, right? So I put on my old hat. I used to work at a school district for 6 years as an IT help desk manager, and I had a lot of automation there, and I'm like, we have to have tools for this. So I'm going to stop my video so I don't distract you, and I will share my screen. So let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
Awesome. So what you're looking at here is the end product in my demo tenant. But the criteria that the school came to me and said is we need a learning portal. We need something that has content for all this Office 365 team stuff that we're responsible for. And we'd prefer it to be in Teams so we don't have to go out to another area or send people to other websites, because in this time, communication is really important and they wanted it in one spot. So I love challenges. I'm like, sure, let's have at it. So I had a couple of meetings with a couple of coworkers, and they brought up what we have is called the Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways Framework. So if most of you don't know what that is, it is on-demand custom training for Microsoft. So if you've been asked to put together content for training and you don't want to have to create your own, you don't have to. We already did it for you. As it says here, it's a fully customizable SharePoint online communication site. It's easy provisioning. You have the ability to create your own playlist, and it's up-to-date content because we keep that up-to-date for you. So what you're looking at here is that the 365 Learning Pathways content provisioned into my demo tenant, and then I wrapped it in a custom app in Teams, and then further customized it to meet my needs and my customers' needs. And in addition to that, I added a little automation. So after the first demo of this to Cleveland Metro Schools, they're like, this is awesome. We have this virtual graduation countdown. There's a button on it that goes right out to a live Teams event. That's great. We have getting started with Microsoft Teams. That's wonderful. I have links to the Microsoft Educator community, remote learning with Minecraft. We have our training events calendar. And they said, but it'd be really cool. So this tile, this live stream tile didn't exist. They said it'd be really cool if people could pre-register for a Teams live event. And I'm like, well, let me see how I can automate this. So what you're looking at here is when I click on this, it brings you out into, speaking of, a Microsoft form where you can complete your first and last name. I'm going to go creative and go John Smith. I'm going to select the high school graduation. I only have one school in here right now because this was a quick demo. The student, first and last name of graduating, I will do my daughter. And put in my email address. I'll just use my Microsoft email address. And I don't have any questions right now. So when I hit submit on this form, it is actually going to kick off a Microsoft Flow and Power Automate from an existing template. I didn't have to create this template. It was already in there for me. I just edited it to my needs. So you can see here, May 21st, 10 seconds ago, that flow succeeded. Now what this flow does is first it adds an item in SharePoint, in a SharePoint list. So all that registration information is recorded. It then also sends an email to the person that registered so they have that information. And hey, look, we have an email here. It says, please attend the live event on Microsoft Teams. It's got the time and it's got a link to join the live event. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So we come down here a little bit more in this portal and we have Meet the Office 365 Suite. This is that Learning Pathways content pre-done for you. You didn't have to do it. So if I want to come in here and I want to learn more about forms, it's all embedded right within this Teams app. So it's not popping you out into another window. This acts just like a browser so you can go back and forth. And all this is a custom SharePoint site. So if you want to see what that looks like, actually, before I do that, I'm scrolling down one more. I added a little bit of other cool stuff in here earlier. This is a playlist built on that same framework. So I added in a whole playlist. I wish I could take credit for all this, but it was literally a couple button clicks. And now I have a playlist on training. And down here, we have the ability to add in some Microsoft Forms. So on the left side, I have the actual form embedded that says, are you coping okay? I'm going to say, maybe. Have you been impacted financially? Of course, I think we all are. So I hit submit, and then the responses are on the right-hand side. So when you think of what we have in front of us here, this is a dashboard. It could be a dashboard for learning. It can be a dashboard for communication. It could be you could have one for staff, one for students, and it's all embedded within Teams. So going over a little bit more like how easy it is to customize this, because I know we have a technical audience on here. So when you're in Teams, right here, I have a go to website button. So this pops you out into the full SharePoint Online site. And I'm going to preface, before I did this project, I had about 0 experience with SharePoint Online. But, you know, I'm a technical person. I'm not afraid to click some buttons. And I found this very easy to configure. So if I wanted to add in one more component, I'm going to scroll. Oops, I got to click the edit button first. And then I'm going to scroll down towards the bottom. And where there's a plus sign, you can add a component. I'm going to add one column. And then when you click on this plus sign, you can embed text, image, file viewer, links, highlighted content. You can do big maps, call to action, Yammer conversations, the countdown timer that you saw. We can do events. We can do Microsoft Forms, Power Apps, Office 365 videos. And part of this is that Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. So when you add that web part in, you can click on the edit button. And now on the right-hand side, we have options. So I'm going to choose full web part, and we are going to select a filter of category. And I'm going to do adoption tools and apply. And now we have adoption tools and an admin success center right in there. And then I would just click the republish button and it's out there. So I'm going to delete that for now. There's easy customizations to do to change the look of the site. So you can pick themes. So I can change the color and save it. You can edit the headers. So very easy to do. So going back here, to do this process, luckily for you, as of yesterday, I created a YouTube video to walk you through all the steps on how to configure this. It will walk you through creating the app catalog in SharePoint. It'll walk you through provisioning the learning pathways framework into your tenant. It will walk you through some of the customization. It will walk you through getting App Studio, which then allows you to create that app or edit the app and wrap it in Teams. So show you what a custom app looks like in Teams really quickly. There's nothing in here that's that difficult, but when I tried to do this, there was no end-to-end documentation out there. Everything was like, you got the first part, okay, provision the pathways, that's great, but now what do I do? There wasn't a step-by-step in order what you need to do to make this work. And so with that, you come in and add the app name. So very easy to change it up if you wanted to do a student one, staff one. When you create this app, you have the ability to like download it and then re-upload it with different version numbers so you can kind of use it as a template. You can add in multiple tabs. So I have the actual remote learning tab. I have a tab for bookings. You could add additional tabs for your own websites. You can add in bots, connectors, meeting messaging extensions. And then I'm going to skip down to domains and permissions. This content is out there on the SharePoint site or SharePoint documentation. This is specifically an AAD single sign-on for SharePoint Online. When you get it the way you want it, you can test and distribute it, and it will put it just on the left-hand side here for you to view. It's just for you at this point. And then when you get the app customized the way you want, I will also walk you through in my video on how to do the policy to pin it up at the top for everybody in your tenant. So it's a one-stop shop. You have one place to go for all your learning content and announcements. So before I get too far, I want to make sure everybody knows how to get to this video because I am known to get yakking and forget to tell you. If you just look up Jody Lefevre and Learning Portal in Microsoft Teams, and I will share this link in the chat afterwards. For some reason in my Teams right now, I can't see the chat button, but I'll make sure to get that included. It's just under 40 minutes, and it will walk you through all those different things on there, even as far as creating the form, creating that Power Automate flow from a template, and adding the form to the SharePoint site. So I know I have a few minutes left, but I think I actually probably covered it pretty good. If we want to go ahead and open it up for some questions on this at this point.
You have plenty of time. It's only 4:45, so you just keep chattering away, and I'm enthralled every time you add something new to this. So tell us a little bit about how this came to be, right? And so this is the kind of just, hey, we don't know, but we have these tools and we're trying to figure this out. So you were working with Cleveland schools, I guess, K through 12, I assume?
Yeah. Yep, K through 12, Cleveland. Yep.
And how did this kind of come up, just in terms of the use case, and you know, what is that turned into, I guess, now, you know, a few weeks later?
Yeah, okay. Well, with COVID and everybody all of a sudden being off site, and you have all these multiple communication forms out there and the need for training, they wanted to be able to send people to one place, one platform for all the communication and all their training needs. And it had to be available on all devices. And Teams is one of those platforms that you can use it on all devices. It doesn't matter whether it's a laptop or a Chromebook or an iPad or iPhone or Android device. Anybody can access it. So what it looks like now is they've actually started building this in their own production tenant and started testing with the staff. And so far, the feedback has been amazing. They're like, oh, we finally have that one place to go for all our communication, our highlighted notes, the announcements, and all of our training. You can also embed like Microsoft Stream videos in here. And with Stream, if you're not familiar with, you can put actual quizzes or Microsoft Forum quizzes in there. So people can do these trainings and get credit for it, which is huge. All of us want credit. We want our little certification certificates. So they have been absolutely enthralled with what this can do. And it's kind of spiraling now. There is just more and more questions of, hey, well, can it do this? And can it do this? And how about we use bookings within this Teams so we can have parents book IEP meetings or book meetings with the teachers. We can do book parent-teacher conferences on here and fully utilize the built-in Teams in the booking meetings and have that be available to be booked right from within Teams.
Awesome. And bookings, I believe, is rolling out to everybody, right? I saw an announcement about that somewhere, right? You had to, you could get to it a number of different ways, but I think that that's showing up. So here's what happens, Jody, right? We see these things, and Heather just sent me a thing, and like, I bet you we could use this somehow for MS office hours. That's a great idea, Heather. I'm throwing her completely under the bus. Maybe, I'm thinking we combine that with that new form that we have, and then we use bookings to schedule the speakers. And we're coming back to you again, Jody.
This was the thing, and Jody, this is like coming just to let you know, because I know you're Sharon, so you're not seeing the call, but I mean, this, honestly, people are loving this. And that was what happened. We saw this. Jody presented to our wider team and blew us away in the way that I think she's blowing a lot of you guys away. And there's so much power, and the personalization and the way that it keeps people in teams. The addition of bookings, I think, is fantastic. The one thing I'll say about bookings is, like Jody got creative here, and she kind of maneuvered and figured things out for herself. As it's currently designed, bookings is not edu friendly. I've already complained to them about it, and I've been pushing. But you can manipulate it. So I've done the same thing, Jody. I've played with it. I've manipulated it. I've made it edu friendly, and actually demoed to a district how you could do exactly what you were saying and add that in. Here's schedule parent-teacher conferences. Schedule one-on-one time with the teacher. It's another great tool that they can just add to this, what you've already got for them, and make life so much easier for so many people. And I'm always about efficiency and being effective, and I think that this does both of those, and I just love it.
So I have to ask, Jody, how come when Heather complains it's constructive criticism, and yet when I complain, I get other words thrown at me? I just, I don't know, Heather. I understand how this works. I'm living that life every day, Jody. Oh man, it's a large burden. So
gotta say it with a smile, Dave. Say it with a smile.
I smile all the time, too much, I'm told sometimes, aside from speaking too fast. But here's the other cool thing I like, Jody, and again, I'm just thinking about this now, right? So we're having Serini, who's from our Health and Life Sciences group, works with teams and a bunch of other stuff. We have him, and he's speaking about there's this whole kind of mental health wave that's coming on, right, in terms of mental health of students and just people that have been through a lot, right, and parents that have their kids home, myself included, for 3 days. We finally, one of them got a job, the oldest one, who's 20, right? So we don't see her for 8 hours a day because she's virtually going through training. I'm like, now you know why when I come down at 5:30 and I don't want to talk to everybody, but there's a Teams virtual app out there, and it really leverages all the stuff that we're doing, and it's really built around kind of this virtual visit scenario, whether it be guidance counseling, mental health counseling, parent-teacher visits. So I wonder if we could find bookings and then use that inside a team. So that's that. We're going to take that as a step 2. I'm going to look at that the next couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you look at how I added the bookings tab right in here, so parent-teacher conferences, remote work assistance, IT help, you could have counseling in here. People could pick the counseling session, see that it's I need it right now. Let's go Monday. I'm going to 8 a.m. first thing. And then you can add details in there. I have name, email. We can all use some counseling, right? Never hurts. Yeah. I always learn something every time I talk to people. Address is optional. Notes, I am going crazy. And then you have
that anymore. I think it's I'm going bat. You know what, crazy maybe.
Yeah. And if you have that certain booking set up correctly, you can actually check the box to get reminders via text messages. And when you're creating the bookings event, there's the option to automatically include an online meeting, a Teams meeting. So when you're talking that virtual counseling and things, that's all built right in there.
So I heard that you really know a lot about Teams. Is that what, or about bookings as well?
Well, I've been setting it up for myself internally because I am so busy. By the time someone emails me and says, "Hey, Jody, I have this problem," and by the time we go back and forth and try to figure out what time's good for us, I'm like, "Hey, why don't you just go to my website or booking site and book my time?" It knows
like
my
that.
calendar. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to show us?
One last thing on, if I could find the one. This is the one I think I just built yesterday or 2 days ago when I was doing that training video.
And this is all no cost, right? Because you have Office 365, A3, A1, probably.
Yep, this is completely free, zero cost. So when you first provision the Microsoft 365 pathways, it's going to look more like this. Start with 6 simple steps. You have 365 training, recommended playlist, getting started with Teams, and then you go in and start configuring the different web parts.
Poodle.
But this is literally, this top part is out of the box, how it looks. I didn't have to touch anything to get those top 5 tiles.
Even the puppy's excited about this. I mean, I don't think we can get a better response than that.
Yes.
Want to go out?
And I don't know how much the people on the call know about Microsoft Flow and Power Automate, but there are a ton of templates out there. So when I wanted one that I wanted to take a form to email, you just search for it. And the first one is form processing to email in SharePoint. So you just click on the template that you want. It looks at, okay, you already have the connections you need. Okay, SharePoint I might ask me for. So I don't know how much automation you all have done. I've did a lot in the past with Microsoft System Center Orchestrator. To me, it kind of reminds me a lot of that. But since you're signed into the tenant already, it's going to you can pick which form you want. You can then pick again the same form, just a test form. And then down here, we can start pulling in dynamic content. So the email address, you can go ahead and pull it from the responder's email. So just to show you how easy it is to configure and link the automation to the form. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I am all about automating and getting out of doing those redundant tasks and making our lives a lot better. And in this, especially this time of COVID, we really need to be very thoughtful of how we spend our time and to keep all this data so we can, use it for future.
Awesome. No, that's great. So, really cool, Jody. I love the way kind of, no code, low code kind of, and we've been trying to keep that front of mind. I have to ask, Carla, what is the name of the dog? You can put it in the chat pane if you want. So we actually have a doggy play area in the MS Office Tower in Redmond. I know I keep coming back to that, but we have all this space that nobody's at, Heather, so we might as well use it for something. I want to have an indoor tennis court. That's on my list of things to do. So, no, that was great, Jody. And I also heard that Jose from the UT system is going to volunteer to talk to us about bookings in June. Thanks, Jose. And again, sometimes if you mention it, we call you out, and we really want to embrace your awesomeness. So, and Evie, all right, the puppy's name or dog's name is Evie. It wasn't a big dog, so it's probably on your lap.
Yeah, Jose, if you put it there, you said you knew stuff. You don't put it in writing there, Jose, if you're not going to volunteer. But good use of a gift there.
I'll reach out through Heather, and I will connect with you via our new presenter link. And
yeah.
fill out a form at a time that works for you. So on that note, why don't we open up for a couple of minutes of Q&A? But again, great work, Jody, and just love the way you kind of figured that out from where you were at. And Steve Lane already has this up and running right now. I can tell. That's his look of enthusiasm. If you don't know Steven, he's excited right now. So, let's see if we had any other questions from the other channel. Do we have anything out there, Heather?
Not seeing it. I mean, honestly, it's just great feedback is what it is. And so I think the appreciation, Jody, that you have created the link. You dropped it to me, so I will drop it. Yep, I'm gonna drop that right now. What I'll do is I will drop it 2 places, both in the current chat, and I will drop it then. Oh, and Steve's got it there. So I can also drop it in the channel, the community channel, in case you are not seeing the chat. I'll go drop it in the channel.
Sorry,
thank you.
And
everybody's working so fast, man.
I really love the sense that everybody comes here right every week. And, a couple of people, hey, I'm on vacation for the long weekend, but I'm still coming here for MS office hours. I'm hoping to get some time out of here tomorrow. I know the rest of us are as well. I promise that I will put a picture of some funny thing that I'm doing along with this RV and my favorite hat that I probably put away for the wintertime because winter just ended last week up here. Feel free, and again, have some fun with it. Feel free to post something in as something fun you did this weekend, right in the Teams channel. And, maybe we'll come back and we'll spend a couple minutes during Q&A just talking about some of the things that we did differently. So on that note, Jody, let me just turn off the recording for now, and we will go from there. And then we can just go offline in case anybody wants to come off mute and ask something or there's something else they feel that is important.